Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Morning Brew podcast. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you haven't yet, go over to the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you do watch these videos, make sure that you like, comment, share, all that. It helps with the algorithm. It helps the video float around social media. Today, if you guys seen the schedule that I posted online today, I have Sarita Lawrence with me. She'll be with me every Friday morning. I do want to start off the show by giving my mom a shout out. It's my mom's birthday, so happy birthday to my mom. I love you, Mom. Laura Morris. So if you are friends with her on Facebook, make sure you tell her happy birthday. How you doing
Happy
this morning,
birthday,
Sarita?
Laura. Doing good. All the kids are home today, so it might be a little noisy in the background.
It's all right. We'll work through it.
Otherwise, doing well.
So for those of you guys that don't know how we're going to do it, we usually come up with topics before we do the show, and then we send them to each other so that we can kind of figure out how we're going to go through the show. Last night, I sent Sarita a list of topics that I came up with, and this morning she let me know that she pretty much had a lot of the same stuff that I had come up with. So our heads were in the same space when it came to what we wanted to talk about today.
Definitely.
So the first thing I want to start off with, Sarita, I'm interested in what you think about this because I know a lot of money base success off of money. Do you think money determines how successful you are in life?
No. I mean, the short answer is no. I don't think so.
Okay.
I think everybody has their individual ideas about, what does success look like to them. And
Yeah.
so, I think that looks different for everybody, but I don't think it's money.
What do you think, if you had to describe success, what do you think success is?
Freedom.
Freedom?
I think, yeah, like just the freedom to choose what you want to do. Like time, people
Yeah.
say time freedom, those sorts of things. But to me, success is just having options. Like I never want to live a life where I'm doing something because I have to. That's the worst feeling. Like I got this crappy job because I have to, or
Yeah.
I'm doing this thing because I have to. Like I just want the freedom to choose, to have a say, to have control. I mean,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I kind of bounce back and forth on it though, because I feel the same way that you feel, but I think what gives a lot of people that freedom is the fact that they have money. Because I mean, if you want to have freedom to do whatever you want, go wherever you want, you have to be financially stable. Um, but I still wouldn't define success based on money. Because I could be completely broke, but if I'm waking up doing something that makes me happy every day, I think that's success. I think being happy, like you said, doing something that you like, not going to a job that you hate, I think that's success. Figuring out a way to do that. Uh,
but like, what about the
and
people who live like off grid? Like just very,
yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
hmm
I don't think that they,
Like out in the cabin, out in the remote cabin.
yeah, like they have their
Yeah,
own, they just have their own little homesteading setup.
yeah,
And
yeah,
like, do they define success? I guess money means as much as you, I don't know. I don't know. I'm this, tying it to money for me, just my
yeah.
opinion.
It
I don't
seems
know.
wrong to
But I
tie it
think
to money.
it
Yeah,
does.
it does. It does seem wrong to tie it to money because there are a lot of people that aren't rich and aren't like crazy, um, crazy like blessed with money, but they're still happy. And I don't know. I don't think that. Yeah, does money have some type of like connection to success? Yeah, especially if you want to travel the world and stuff like that, you
Yeah,
obviously can't
that's
do it
what I
without
do.
money. But as far as success, I think it's real subjective. Like it just depends on what that person considers success. And what I consider success is waking up and doing something that makes me happy every day and not having to go do something else, like you said, that I don't want to do.
Yeah, 100%. You said traveling. Just this is like a sidebar, but man, like I always see people traveling and I'm like, dang, like I
Mm.
want to go to Turks and Caicos or I want to go to the Bahamas. But in reality, I am terrified every time I travel. Like every
I
time
am
I travel,
too.
I'm like, somebody's gonna put something in our bag. Like
Yeah.
I'm always like scared the canines are gonna do have like a false positive detection on my bag and TSA or
Oh
something. I'm
yeah.
so nerve wracking. I hate it. I hate it.
I hate flying in general, so I'm not even messing with that. But like I have flown before, but I don't fuck with it at all. At all. Like I would have to get like sloppy drunk to get on a plane. But have you did you hear about them people going down to that resort in Mexico and they like they put something in their drink and they were in the pool swimming and they just fucking just died in the pool. They found them floating in the
That's what I'm
pool.
talking about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. So Bryce and I, we actually the last time we were in Mexico was um almost 10 years ago. Holy cow. Almost 10 years ago. Um and it was like all inclusive. We went to this
Yeah.
really nice like Hard Rock hotel and we got
Mhm.
married there and all this stuff. And the whole time I was thinking like the cartel is about to take over this resort and we're about to be held hostage for like
Yeah.
every dollar we have. And I was
Yeah.
like, before we left, I was like, I'm gonna do all these excursions. And we had to leave the
Uh-huh.
resort to go on the excursion. And they're like with automatic like rifles everywhere. And it was
Fuck
crazy.
no.
I will say, I say all that, but the people at the resort were like the most hospitable, like
Yeah.
just beautiful people. But the
Oh yeah.
experience was nerve wracking.
Yeah, and they do, and then they make you nervous when you get all because I went on a cruise. Like when I got off the boat, like one of the first things they do is they're
Oh,
like, "Don't go out of the tourist section. Don't go too
yeah.
far off the tourist section." And we were there, and they were like, and they had like this shack that was just like on the edge of it, like where it was tourist, and then it wasn't tourist, and it was just like on the edge, and they were like trying to lure us in there, like, "Oh yeah, we got Coach Louis
Yes.
Vuitton bags for cheap and all this and that," and I was like, "Nah,
Yes. Mm-mm.
nah, I'm
They
gonna end
want
up
your
in one of them
organs to the black
bags." Yeah.
market. That
My liver gonna end
actually,
up
I
in a Louis
lied.
Vuitton bag. What?
We did go on a cruise. I forgot about that. We went on a cruise and Mexico
Mhm.
was one of the stops. And we paid for this day trip to like this resort that was close by the port.
Yeah,
But we had to walk. I didn't know we had to walk. Like in my
yeah.
mind, there was like a shuttle or something. So
Mhm.
um it was probably like not a little less than a quarter of a mile. We didn't have to walk
Yeah.
very far. But we had to walk, like, in the streets of Mexico to get there, and the very first person that we saw after leaving the little port area was, like, asking if we want drugs and stuff, and I was I was so scared, like, I was so scared. We were both like, "No." We picked up the pace, we got to the resort.
Yeah,
It wasn't until I was, like, 3 or 4 drinks in, because everything was
yeah.
included that day, that I was like, "Man, we gotta walk back." We gotta
Mm,
walk back to the port, and I'm
mhm.
already like I mean, we're on a cruise, like, we're having fun,
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
drinking. I was
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I was so nervous. We obviously made it, but let me tell you something, that was the fastest walk I've ever walked in my
It
life.
really opens your eyes to it being a whole nother world. Because we also went to Jamaica, and we was, like, 16, so we was like, "We're 16, we're about to go to
You were
Jamaica," like,
16?
yeah. Which you're allowed to drink down there at 16 in Jamaica. So, we went to Jamaica,
What?
and I was like, "Man, I'm 16 years old, I'm down here in Jamaica, I'm buying some weed down here, I'm buying some weed." So, we're walking we're walking down the street, and dude came up to us, and he was like, "You guys wanna buy some weed?" First, he tried to, like, start it off by, like, selling us coffee beans on a string, and I'm like, "Bro, why am I gonna buy coffee beans on a string?" And he was like, "Well, you guys want to buy some weed?" And he shows us like this big ass sack of weed, and he's like, $5. And we was like, "Okay, bet." And he was like, just come over here by the waterfall, and
Oh,
and all this and that, and we can get it to you and all this and that. And then the tour guide, he was like, "There ain't no waterfall over there." Because the dude was trying to hype it up, like, "Yeah, you can meet us over here. You can get pictures by the waterfall and all this and that." The tour guy was like, "There ain't no waterfall over there." I was like, "Oh damn, what the fuck was he about to do to
oh,
us?"
thank God for the waterfall. Or,
Yeah, I was
the tour guide, my bad.
yeah. So I was on high alert because they was on some other shit.
Yeah, see,
But
I'm like, I watch too many cop shows.
oh yeah, I've watched too many Netflix true crime documentaries to
Yeah,
no, I've seen
exactly.
too much crazy shit. And I'm in an unfamiliar place. I don't know what's going on. um so Sarita, to kind of jump around, what is one thing that you realized you need to change about yourself to become a better person?
So many things.
What is the main
Uh,
thing? Because I know there's one thing that sticks out about myself. What is the main thing that you realize you really have to flip a switch on to become take yourself to that next level?
yeah, so they're intertwined. There might be 2 things, but one thing that I definitely have, and most people do, but one thing is, like, I cannot care what other people think about my decisions. Like, I just
Mhm.
have to, it can't even be a thought. It is naturally, instinctively, it is
Yeah.
like, "What are people gonna think?" Or, "They're gonna think this," or, "They're gonna think that," and I have to make a very conscious effort every time that happens to just, like, cut it off.
Also, you think
Just cut
that
it.
your biggest issue is caring too much what other people think about your decisions?
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it was one that I really it was one that I realized I had to change about myself. I don't know if it's my biggest
Yeah.
issue, but it's one
Uh-huh.
that was a definite, like, "All right, I have to do something about this," because,
Yeah.
like they say, like, other people ain't paying your bills, so I have to make sure that it's not, it can't be a factor. It can't be.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's hard. I think that's hard for a lot of people, especially with social media being so relevant in everyone's life.
Yes.
You're constantly getting criticism. You're constantly, without even knowing it, subconsciously comparing what you're doing to what other people are doing and the success that they're having. Um,
All the time.
eh, yeah, and then you're like, well, if I'm going this long without posting that I'm doing anything productive or good, then I'm not keeping up. Um, I think my biggest thing is procrastination. I procrastinate a lot, and I'm bad at it. I don't know, like I've never been to a doctor because I don't really believe in that shit because they only just try to give you prescription pills and stuff. I've never really been to a doctor to see if I got an attention deficit disorder or whatever, but I have a real hard time like actually sitting down for hours at a time and doing something. I bounce around a lot. So I
Yeah.
think one of my
That's what I mean.
what is it?
I think a lot of people struggle with that. I think
Yeah.
you're definitely not alone in that.
Yeah. And it's just like I know that procrastination is probably my biggest thing that I need to work on because I can like I'm a pro at coming up with excuses why I shouldn't have to sit down at this desk for 3 hours and work on a video. Like I'm a fucking pro at it. And I know that's something I need to become better at. But like, well, I can't
You
do
know,
that. I gotta go do this. I got
I'm not a doctor. I probably should. I'm probably stepping out of my realm of, but I'm just speaking from experience. So
yeah,
it was, so 3 years ago. Yeah, it's been 3 years. I was diagnosed with ADHD, and let me tell
yeah,
you something. The medicine that you take for that,
yeah.
it's gonna change your life. If it's true.
For
I didn't
for the
know.
better.
I didn't know I Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, changes your life for the better. Because I
I
was seeing
mean,
something
if you
where it
don't
was like,
you get
yeah, I was saying something where it was like
Go ahead.
if you're taking it, you're fine. But as soon as you stop taking it, they say like your problems like 10 times worse once you stop taking it. But who knows?
Nah. I mean, I don't know.
It's
I don't
probably
know.
different with
This is just
everybody.
my experience. I bet it is, and
Yeah.
probably how severe it is, is case by case.
Yeah.
That may be relevant, but no, not for me. I can definitely tell when I take it and I don't take it. I don't take it every day, but I can
Yeah.
definitely tell. Like, I'm a mess.
Like do
I'm
you
a mess.
so
I'm all over the place.
s- so like you take ADHD medicine before like you're about to sit down and for a task or something that you need to be focused on or what?
Um, no, I don't. See, and I'm sure there are different. So the one I have is it's extended release.
Yeah.
So it
Mm,
releases little bits throughout the day to just kind of keep you going.
right.
But I found out that I needed it because I took a stimulant one time, and it was supposed to like give me energy, whatever, blah blah blah, and it made me tired. It didn't do any of the things that most people experience when they take it. It did
Yeah.
like the opposite. So I reached out to the doctor, like, this is trash. Like, this is terrible. I'm nodding off on my desk right now. This is not doing any of the things that it said it was supposed to do. And she was like, have you ever been diagnosed with an attention deficit condition? And I was like, no, but now that you bring that up, and so we did like this assessment. It was a whole like consultation thing, and yeah, well, I mean, it was by accident, honestly, that I found
Yeah.
something that works. But you might consider it. I mean, I get how you feel about the medicine thing, but there might be something out there that you don't hate and actually helps.
Yeah, I might have to go. I might have to go see what they say about me. I might have to go
Let
see
me
what
just
they
go
say
see what they
about me.
say about me.
Yeah. Dylan said, travel to the Philippines, you won't regret it. The Philippines is like a 20-hour
Oh,
flight though, and I'm not a fan of flying anyway, Dylan. So yeah, because there
20
was
hours.
somebody, yeah, it's there was a guy that traveled there at my old job. He traveled there and he was telling me about the flight. He said it's a 20-hour flight. And he was like the whole time the person in front of him had their seat laid back on his legs. I was like, no. See, I don't like planes as it is. So when I
Yeah, that would have been a
flew,
problem.
when I flew, it was to Florida, which is like a 2.5 hour flight, I think.
Yeah, 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like by the time you're really like working yourself up and getting scared, the shit's already over. So I can't do a 20-hour flight. That's too much.
Wait, when you went to Jamaica, how long was the flight?
Well, we flew down to Port Canaveral, Florida. And then we got on the boat and we cruised over to Jamaica.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that was a cruise. Yeah. So what is oh shit, I just did that. Okay. What is the hardest challenge you've had to overcome in life that you can remember? That's tough.
I can think of two. Yeah, that's a tough one. I can think of two. Probably the one that comes first is like grieving the loss of my brother.
Mm-hmm.
That's I don't know, I don't know that. So that one. And then probably having my oldest at 22. That was really difficult.
Yeah.
Those two things are two things that stick out into my mind. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that I wanted to ask you. So you were 22 years old when you had your first kid.
Mhm.
So what were some of the challenges that um you had to deal with having a kid that young? Because I mean, 22 isn't super young when you have people out here having kids at 17 years old, but 22 is still young. And I mean, nobody has their life together at 22. So,
Hmm.
what were some of
I did.
you of the unique? Yeah, what were some of the unique challenges that you had to go through having a kid that young?
So I was still in college at the time. So
Uh
that's
huh.
one. Like trying to I show up, to uh college in the fall and I'm 6 months pregnant. So that
Yeah.
that that was an experience trying to navigate that. And then, I wasn't stable in a career at the time. So
Yeah.
there's that. And then there's a lot of shame too. I wasn't married. Um, we weren't even together at the time. And there was just, I think the shame was like the biggest thing of
Hmm.
me feeling like um I was just going to be another statistic. I was just going to be
Yeah.
another, college dropout. I was thinking all these things that you hear people say about young kid. I feel like 22, you're still a kid. But
Yeah.
young people like throwing their life away was what I felt like. Like I wasn't, everything was going to be that much harder now. So just the mental part of it, none of it was as bad as getting over the mental like part of
Yeah.
it, feeling
Hmm.
embarrassed, like but it's so funny because I say this all the time that at 22 I felt so much shame. I was like, really thinking that I had done it, like I had ruined my life. But
Hmm.
here I am gonna be like 38, 39, and my kid's gonna graduate high
Yeah.
school. Like I'm gonna be young as hell,
Yeah.
still out here
Yeah.
living
Yeah.
my life.
Uh-huh.
um but yeah, I think the shame definitely that just society expects, like premarital, having a baby out of wedlock and all of those things.
Yeah.
The mental part of it really, but I mean, I think I said this last week, just having a healthy baby is like one of the most miraculous things. So I quickly realized that that part's over. And then having a baby, like being
Yeah.
young, taking care of the baby, and navigating the co parenting relationship with two people who are just maturity wise not ready to deal with the stakes being that high. That
Yeah.
was incredibly difficult, incredibly difficult.
Yeah, and I noticed with a lot because there's always that stereotype when it comes to young women having kids. You always hear that negative stereotype, but I don't hear a lot of people talk about the positives that come out of that too, because there are a lot of times where I hear women talk about how having a kid at an early age saved their life. Because
Yeah.
if they wouldn't have had that child at that age, then they might have never became motivated to get to where they are now, or they might have thrown their life away doing dumb shit, being out partying, doing God knows what. So a lot of times in a situation like that, the kids are what really make you want to be a better person and go to that next level for them.
Yeah, I mean, that was true. That's definitely true for me. I mean, I felt like I was just kind of in this space, and I know there are people that are listening that are going to think about that, or they're probably going to relate to this. Like, one, I had decided that I wasn't going to continue playing college basketball. So, like,
Yeah.
I was already in a space where I'm like, all right, I'm not going to the WNBA. Like, this is
Mm.
hard. Like, being a full-time student and being a
Yeah.
college athlete, it's so
I
hard.
didn't know you played college basketball.
Yeah, I definitely did. I went to Urbana and played.
Nice.
Um,
Okay.
so I I did that, and then it's kind of like I remember I was standing on campus one day, and I was just looking at, like, just having a moment of reflection, thinking like, dang, so I'm going to college. I'm working while I'm going in college, while I'm, full-time
Hmm.
student, full-time employee, doing all these things, and I'm only doing it for a boatload of debt and like to work sun up to sundown 5
Hmm.
days a week.
Yeah.
I remember sitting here thinking that, and I was like, wow, like this is kind of depressing. So,
Yeah.
you have all that going on, then you get pregnant, then you deal with all that. That was definitely, but to come out of that with my son, who I've made decisions that I would not have made that were in our best interest because I
Yeah.
was a
For sure.
mom. Like, there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Well, so what was the overall reaction that you got around you? Like, did you get more of a disappointing reaction, or did you get more people like that gathered around you like, "Well, okay, we're going to make it work"? When you initially told them that you wasn't going to go to college anymore because you were pregnant.
Well, I never stopped going. So
Okay.
in my mind, like, I was just gonna take online
Yeah,
courses.
yeah.
Well, that's not true. I
Or,
did take a break.
stop playing basketball. My bad.
Oh, stop playing basketball? No,
Yeah.
everybody was really supportive. I mean,
Okay.
my parents both have associate's degrees.
Uh-huh.
So, I think that it was like and maybe I'm speaking too soon or I'm not. From my perspective, it just kind of felt like we respect your decision.
Mhm.
We know my parents have always kind of given me room to like try to figure things out for myself. I was always
Yeah,
appreciated that. So it's just kind of like we respect your decision. We want you to be happy above anything
yeah,
else. And if that's something that's causing you more like mental strain, then then you don't.
yeah.
This maybe it's not for you. Maybe you don't need to keep doing it. So it was. I was. Everybody was pretty supportive. Now, when I told them I was
Mhm.
pregnant, got a little mixed bag of emotions
Yeah,
there.
yeah. And I mean, you're always gonna have them people in your family that won't tell you when you're around, but they'll kinda discuss it amongst each other when you're not there, you know what I'm saying? And I was talking about that on one show. You don't ever wanna walk into a room where you know as soon as you walk out, they're talking bad about you, but it is what it is. It happens
Oh,
to
yeah,
families.
it
But,
happens. It
I
happens.
never got a chance to talk to you about your brother. How did you deal with that? Because um, I can't even imagine losing a sibling. Like, how did you work through that?
I'm still working through it.
Yeah,
Um, that day, there was so much personally going on that day. Like I
yeah,
remember that day like it is happening right now. That's how
yeah.
vividly I can remember that day. But
How did you get the news?
um
I know it's hard to talk about. I just hadn't ever talked to you about it.
so Sade actually called me. Shout
Mhm,
out to her cuz I don't know. We were leaving. We were going to Columbus. Actually at the time we
mhm,
had got that right before she had called me to let me know. We had got a call from Bryson's sister telling us that his dad wasn't doing well and that we needed to come to like get brought up to speed and to basically
yeah,
like say our goodbyes. So
yeah,
that was what our plan was that day. So I come home. Bryson canceled the rest of his day at the gym, and I pull in
mhm,
the driveway. I go into the house. I come out of the house. We're getting all the kids are in the car. My phone rings and
mhm.
it's her, and I answer it, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And she was like, "Hey, your brother has just been shot." And I was like, "What?" Like the sound that came out of my body when she told me that is not a sound I think I've probably ever made. I probably never
I
made that
couldn't.
sound before. And
Yeah,
she
I
said, "Yeah,
couldn't
it's at the
imagine.
barbershop. You need to get here." It's out. It feels. I mean, even now, from the minute I got the phone call, it was just an out of body experience.
Yeah,
Um,
I bet.
like I just watched myself. But so I get in the car. We race over there. Like Bryson's driving. We're running through red lights, and I get there, and there's like it had happened. So there's police, there's ambulances, there's people, and I
Mhm.
don't remember everything in that moment, but I just remember walking up to Aunt and he's like visibly emotional and upset and I'm pissed because I'm
Yeah,
like, why is everyone crying? Like, what are you crying
yeah,
for? He's fine. Like my brain went into like
yeah. Like, it couldn't
just
accept it. Yeah,
survival. No,
yeah.
no, 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 no. Everybody was being way too dramatic. My brother's
Mhm.
Superman. Like, he's
Yeah.
fine. Um, so yeah, so I went to the hospital and there were already people there. Like I walk in and the first person I see is Jesse Stanley and I'm like, I felt like I was in like a movie, a literal movie. So I'm in there
Yeah.
and people are trying to get back, they're not letting anybody back. So I give my ID, I'm like, I'm his sister, like I need to know what's going on. Like I need to be back there. And they were just like, no. And there was somebody that our son played baseball with, a kid whose aunt worked there at the time. And then Bryson at that time was training a lot of ER nurses. So it just so happened that there were people in the hospital that we were texting with and talking with, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And one of them comes out and she's crying and she's like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, what the fuck are you? Excuse me. I'm like, what are you
You're good.
sorry for?
Hey, it's the morning
Like,
brew.
what are you sorry? I'm just mad at everybody, like,
Yeah.
because I don't have the information. I'm on high
Yeah.
alert. Like, it's just emotional. My brain isn't keeping up. I'm not keeping up. I
Hmm.
just am there. And I was like, just mad at everybody who said they were sorry because my brother is
Yeah.
fine and you're being
Hmm.
dramatic. Um, so yeah, I was pretty short with people because I just could not comprehend. And then the whole life flight, they life flighted him from MGH. But anyway, I'm going in a long-winded story, but you never
Oh no, you're
stop
good.
grieving. It was a complete out-of-body experience. I remember the next day after everything, I walk outside because like you don't get time. The funeral arrangements start, the drama starts,
Yeah.
it was such a there was so much drama.
And in this case, another
So
person was responsible for what happened.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not like somebody being sick or having a medical condition and them passing away like that. Like somebody else was responsible for it happening. So I can only imagine the emotions that were going around.
There were so many questions, there were so many emotions. Everybody, the one thing that I hated and I still hate about it is that, let me just say, well-intended people do
Hmm.
they do mess some things up.
Yeah.
And I know that so many people were affected by it. So many people had unique relationships with my brother. My brother was almost like masterful at how
Hmm.
he um captivated people and how he built relationships with people. He was just
Hmm.
like it was just like an unending flow of just like love. That was who he
Yeah.
was with everybody.
Hmm.
Um but there were so many different stories of what happened and how and why, and that really makes a situation like that very difficult to grapple with because it's constantly some new person messaging you like, hey, I heard this, or so and so saying this. You're just I hate that happens. It's actually
Yeah.
not helpful at all.
Hmm.
But I remember I walked outside for the first time after it had happened. Like, you wake up and you still haven't processed what like actually happened because you're just trauma now. Now it's just like a
Yeah.
trauma response. And I walked outside and there were people walking. It was a beautiful day the next day. People walking, like living their lives. And I just remember being so upset that no one else, not, I mean, obviously people that knew about it, that had a relationship with him, but I just felt like
Hmm.
all the people walking in the street, walking their dogs, laughing in their yard, I was like mad at them.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm like, my world is literally in shambles right now.
Hmm.
And everyone else just seemingly went on about
What's
their
going on?
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, their world never stopped spinning. And that was really, really, really hard to process. Like, wait a minute, how are you, like, I don't know. I still can't really make sense of it. It's just total and complete out of body experience.
Ashley Gatsall sends you some hearts. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, that's a completely different experience, I'm sure, because like I said, like when it comes to like somebody having medical conditions or health related problems, you kind of can prepare yourself and you know that okay, eventually this is what's going to happen. In a situation like that, or like somebody getting in a car wreck or something like that and just instantly one day out of nowhere passing away like that, that
Yeah, then you're almost like
is
expecting it, like you're prepared in a way,
yeah.
like when they're sick.
So
But like you're saying, the
mhm,
unexpectedness of it.
right, yeah, I'm sure that that's a lot harder to grasp. And like you said, your mind didn't even want to accept it at first because it just happened so
No.
out of nowhere.
Yeah, and it just seems so unfair. Like, you go through this whole legal side of things when that happens.
Mm,
And just, people will say the words like, we're gonna, and I know what they mean. I know what they mean. Like, we're gonna get
right.
justice. But there's nothing, there's never justice for something like that. Like, nothing feels right. He could have, some the guy could have, like, we could have taken it back to medieval times and like stoned him in
Yeah.
the community, town hall or whatever. It would, nothing is gonna get
Yeah.
your person back.
Yeah. So, uh, my bad. I didn't mean to turn it into a herd video. I just never got the chance to talk to you about it, so I wanted to talk to you about it and see what kind of effect that had on your
Yeah, it's
daily
crazy.
life and just in general. Because I know it is hard to lose somebody. I've never lost somebody in that manner, so I can only imagine how hard that is. So, um, do you read, Sarita?
Yeah,
What are the type of things that you read when you do read?
I like self-help books. So like right now I'm reading Emotional Intelligence 2.0.
Okay.
So good. It's so good. I recommend everybody read it.
You can get it on Amazon or what?
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon. I do what I always do when I need something. I go to Facebook first. And somebody had it.
Okay.
Somebody had it and let me
Yeah.
borrow it. So it worked. They have an ebook, audiobook, paperback, hardcover. I love
And
it.
what was it called again? Emotional.
Intelligence 2.0.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Emotional Intelligence 2.0. And what about any shows, series, movies? You watching any good ones lately?
Yes, I'm almost done with Griselda on Netflix. I love it. If you have
Is it
not
good?
watched it, you got to watch it. So
I was
good.
thinking
So
about I was
good.
thinking about watching it, but I was like, but on Twitter you see so many mixed reviews on stuff. Like I seen people on there saying
Really?
like, oh, so Griselda was just a crackhead. And I was like, what the hell? What is this show about?
I didn't get
Some
to
shit
that
like that.
part in the series yet.
Yeah, I haven't started
No, it's
watching
so
it.
good.
Okay. It keeps popping up and I've
Did you
been
watch
thinking about starting it. So
Did you watch Queen of the South? Did you watch that?
I started watching it and it was really good. I started watching it and one of my like favorite series came back out. I forget what it was. So I like stopped watching it to start watching that. And then once I finished watching that, I completely forgot about it. But I do need to hop back on that though.
Oh, it's so if you like Queen of the South, I feel like you'll like Griselda. But I am
Okay.
like a documentary type of junkie. So like I
Yeah.
love drugs. I love like Drugs Inc. Not hold on.
Nobody cut that. Nobody cut that out and use it on social media. I love
No,
drugs.
no. Drugs Inc. I love the shows about like the cartel. I love intervention. Like I just love stuff like that. I don't know why.
Mm, yeah. Your
I took
competition's about to
Dare.
cut that and they're about to show that to their their
I took
people.
Dare
Look,
very seriously in school, guys. So
yeah.
yeah, no, I'm
They
good.
about to be showing
Personal.
that to their clients. Like, you don't want to buy a house off this lady. She just said she likes drugs on a podcast.
I can't believe I just said that. Anyway, yeah, so I really like now I'm all messed up. I can't believe
Yeah.
should have been a little bit more clear. Anyway, it's a good series. Watch it. There's only 6 episodes. Let me know what you think.
Yeah. Yeah, I just watched one. I like them true crime documentaries, which is part of the reason why I'm scared to death when I go to foreign countries and shit.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
have you watched that new one on there? It's called like I should have put the name of it down. It's called like Love Killer something.
No.
It's a new one on Netflix, but it's um like this dude, like he was with this woman forever. They broke up, so he got back into the dating scene and he met this lady. They messed around a couple nights and then he met this other lady and they messed around and then she started stalking him. I don't want to ruin it. But like she started stalking him and making death threats and all this and that. And it turned out that it wasn't her. The first lady he met killed her and took her phone and was the one acting
What?
like her to make him think that she was crazy. It was wild. It was wild.
Okay, we need the
Oh,
name because you can't leave us in suspense like that.
yeah, it was like Love Killer. Hold on a second. Fuck. Yeah, hold on. I gotta pull it up.
Okay, while he's looking for that, I just had a thought. If you have not
Okay.
watched Murdaugh Family Murders, that's on Netflix. That's a good true crime documentary series.
Oh yeah, that is a really good one.
Oh, you watched it? And I watched the court
Yeah.
TV. I watched the trials too. That was something.
Lover, Lover, Stalker, Killer. That's the name of it.
Lover, stalker, killer. Okay.
It's in the
Okay.
top 10 right now, and it's like a picture of a I don't know if you guys can see that.
Okay.
It's like a
Okay.
picture of a cell phone with a heart on it and a crime scene. But yeah, Lover, Stalker, Killer. That shit was wild. That American Nightmare was wild. Did you watch that?
Is that the one where they like kidnapped the fiance or whatever?
Yeah,
Yeah, I watched that. That was
that shit
good.
was
I was
crazy.
the whole time I was like, dang, she really is a gone girl. Like, look at them plotting and scheming, and then it really happened.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, that was
well,
nuts.
it all made sense when it came out that the guy that was doing all the
The F.
investigation and stuff was an ex of hers. So it
Yep.
was like, oh yeah, he's shitty. He needs to lose his job.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was a good one. I don't. I'm not. I'm like a huge Grey's Anatomy person. So if I'm not watching a documentary or something like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
or Griselda, obviously, I'm probably watching a Grey's Anatomy episode for the 50th time.
Yeah. So you think that Murdaugh dad killed his whole family?
Oh yeah,
Well, the
100%,
son and the
100%. Some
I just
people
couldn't
like
imagine.
that's the power of money. Money will make you
Yeah.
do crazy things.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like
That dude,
completely changed you as a person.
unhinged.
Because I mean all yeah, yeah, cuz all the signs point to him doing it, and it's like, okay, everything shows that he killed his son and his wife. But then you think to yourself like, I couldn't imagine ever
I could
doing that
never
or,
do
and
that.
living with myself. So that kind of makes it hard to believe he did it, even though it's like all the fucking evidence is there saying it. And then you just got to realize like some people are just fucked up. Some people are just crazy.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like you don't people don't just look crazy. Like there's
Yeah.
not really like a look. Like
Oh yeah.
can be,
Except
you
like
know.
Jeffrey Dahmer, that motherfucker looked crazy.
Did you watch did you watch the Netflix
Yeah. Yeah.
show?
Yeah.
That was
It was really good. I thought it was really good.
I thought it was
He's a
good. I thought it was
yeah,
good.
he's a fucked up person. Don't get me wrong, everything he did was terrible, but they did a great job at portraying him and putting that together.
I mean, the neighbor lady?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. How do you not? He convinced
If
her
you
that it
haven't
was
watched
yeah, he convinced her that it was old pork chops in his fridge. Like these are dead
she
human
knew. She
bodies.
knew.
Yeah. Well,
Oh man, I
and
can
then
imagine.
and then he's trying to take that 14-year-old boy into back into his place and they're outside and the cop shows up and just lets him do it. Like, what the fuck?
Isn't that the one where he like did like tried to do like a craniotomy in his head? Like he drilled a
Yeah, it
hole,
was
right?
yeah,
Oh
and he
man,
was
that was crazy.
sleeping with his bones and stuff. Wild. You
The
gotta be
head
a
in the
certain
fridge.
hey, hey, but a lot of I don't care. Like you can be molded into becoming that because his dad, like out of all the hobbies that you could have together, his dad was taking him out, picking up roadkill and letting him do dissections on him and shit. Like that's just yeah, that's just molding him into doing some weird shit like that.
Wait, but so I mean, I've dissected frogs and sharks in school.
Yeah, in school, I mean, in like anatomy class, but this is how they bonded. Like this is how him
Yeah,
and
it
his
was a
father
little
bonded.
strange.
That would be
It
like,
was
I mean,
strange.
how what would you think if you came home and Bryson was like, "Yeah, I took Dez and we got a fucking possum out the road and he's in here performing a craniotomy on him or whatever the fuck it's called."
It would be strange. But
Yeah,
maybe it
super
wouldn't be strange
strange.
if I hadn't seen that already. Like,
Yeah,
if my son was like, "I wanna be a doctor."
or a veterinarian.
I'm I'm trying to rationalize
Yeah.
this.
Well, with like all the yeah, they can't. With all the serial killers, like it's like they only start off killing animals first. And then
Yeah,
they like get that rush or that ecstasy from killing that animal. So it's like they gotta keep on climbing the ladder to get to their first human.
it
It's
does
fucking
seem to,
weird.
like, elevate. It is a little
Mhm.
strange. It is a strange, but that is, like, a common thing that they say about young children having this, like, obsession with killing animals.
Yeah. Yeah. And it
Mm,
was like I'm not even sure if it was Jeffrey Dahmer. But I know it was one of the serial killer documentaries that I was watching, and they was like he actually got sexually aroused by the texture of the organs in the human body. So it was like they're wired different,
that's
you
different.
know. Yeah, that's different. They're wired different. They got something going on up there in their head that ain't going on in everybody's head. So all right. Anyway, would you describe yourself naturally as an introvert or an extrovert?
Hmm. I would say that I am I mean, I would say that I am an extrovert, maybe. I don't
Hmm.
know. Ooh, that's hard. I don't know because I
See what I think is I think a lot of people are naturally introverts, but they have to be extroverts to do their job well a lot of times. Like in your situation where you interact with a lot of different people and you have to be able to create some kind of emotional connection with them. Same with me going and doing weddings. Like I told you, the hardest thing for me to go do is cater to them specific personalities every time I go out. I think I can't speak for you, but I know naturally I'm an introvert. Like if I could just not talk to anybody new and still make a living, that's what I would do. But I think what I do for a living makes me have to go do that.
yeah, you might be onto something there. Like the only reason why I say that
Hmm.
extrovert piece is because I love being in connection with people. Like I
Yeah.
love to do it.
Yeah.
Checking in with people, seeing how they're doing, just having conversation. I love it. But
Hmm.
my social battery does like deplete itself. Like there are times where I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to sit here and stare at the TV. I'm not even really watching it, but I just need some sound and
Yeah.
something to look at. To just kind
Right.
of veg
Yeah.
out. So I do need that, but I am charged being in connection with people. If I have like a friend and I
Hmm.
haven't talked to him in a while, and like I need to know. We need to connect.
Yeah. 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 I can feel that. Like once I get to that point where I know you and we have that relationship, I do enjoy it. I do enjoy having those connections with people. It's just I have a hard time getting to that point, and the amount of energy that it takes for me and the amount of effort that it takes for me to get to that point is just so fucking exhausting for me. So it's like
Yeah.
I just have that solid foundation of people in my life that okay, these are the only people that I really want to talk to. These are the only people that I really have to talk to. And anybody outside of that, it's just like it's exhausting to get to that point.
Talk to me is exhausting. Small talk.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't
Like I want to
stand
talk
it.
about real stuff. I don't
Yeah.
I don't know how
It's
to do small talk well.
yeah, it's the most awkward uh yeah, because that's not who I am. Like small talk
Mm-mm.
is just what I've seen other people say because they think it's the right thing to say. It's like, this isn't what I
Yeah.
really want to say to you. This is just what I've been taught how you approach or address people. It's like,
Yes.
if I could meet somebody for the first time and we could jump straight into something that I'm super passionate about or enthusiastic, that's what it is. But you always got to start off with the basic shit every time. And it's like, this is just a waste of time. So,
Whenever people ask me, like, "Hey, how are you?" In my head, I always ask
mhm,
myself, "Do I just say good to, like, move on with this conversation, or
yeah,
do I, not that it's not good, but
yeah,
or do I, like, honestly answer that question? And if
yeah.
I do that, how
Like,
long is it gonna take?"
I'm fucked up right now because they probably ain't gonna want to talk to you if you tell them that. Yeah, I'm fucked up.
No, no, no. So I the small talk thing, like, in my head, I'm always
Yeah,
wagering what what are they really asking me? Do they really
yeah.
wanna know, and what are they really asking me?
Yeah, like I was I couldn't help but laugh one day because I was coming out of the store and I talked about it on the podcast with Shaq. I was coming out of a store and these two people came out behind me and there was a dude standing out there smoking a cigarette and they knew the guy. So we walked out and I heard him ask him, they was like, "Hey, what so and so, how you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, I just had a heart attack." And they were kind of like, "Oh shit, where do we go from here?" Because you don't
Yes,
expect people to just tell you about all their problems right off the rip like that.
you gotta be careful asking people how they're doing.
Yeah, because they'll tell you. They'll
You
tell you.
might really get a chance to find out.
Yeah, they gonna let you know. They ain't gonna just say good and just keep it moving.
Yeah, yes.
And then I
Mhm.
and then there are a lot of people. If you guys know the same crowds, and I can't stand it. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. There are a lot of people that their way to break the ice or start a conversation is to start talking bad about other people.
Mm.
And I can't stand it. It's like whenever they want to the only way they know how to start a conversation is to tell you something juicy about somebody else or something bad about somebody else. And it's like, why is that your first instinct to start talking about somebody else? And that's the only way that you have found to connect with people. What kind of people are you around that the only way you can connect with people is to talk down about somebody else? And I can't stand that. Like, I won't be
Yeah,
rude about it, but I'll just start talking about something completely different because I don't like that.
that's what I do. If I don't wanna talk about it, I'll just
Yeah.
change the subject,
Hmm.
especially if we don't
Yeah.
even know each other. Like, you don't know who I
Right.
talk to, you don't know who I'm friends with, you don't know if you're gonna offend
Yeah.
me by talking about that person.
Yeah.
S it is there's a lot of people like that that just bond over, like, misery, and,
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of space for that.
That's a good way to put it. Bonding over misery, and I can't entertain it. That shit sounded that shit sounded depressing as hell. Said bonding over misery.
It's
Uh,
hey, it's
all right, Sarita. So, what is, and this can be something as simple as pineapples on pizza. What is one unpopular opinion that you have that most people disagree with you about?
oh, man, I don't know. You gotta go first on this one. You gotta go first.
I don't know, and I'm the one that came up with the question, so I was just curious to see where you went. Really, one
Unpopular.
unpopular opinion that I have that most people disagree with you about. That is a hard one. That is a
I'm
hard
sure
one.
there are
One,
so many that I
yeah,
have, because I can see, like, when I think about that, I can see people's, like, natural reactions to things I've said, but now I'm trying
yeah.
to remember. I'll try to remember the things I've said.
Yeah, I can't really think of nothing. I'm the one that came up with it, and I can't even. All right, so we'll go to the next thing. How important is
Yeah, let's
networking?
so important. Hands down,
Mhm.
if you don't do anything right, you gotta learn how to shake hands with people, um,
Oh,
a
yeah.
and build relationships with people, because, I mean, you hear all the time, "It's not what you know, it's who you know." Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
that is a real thing. There are so
Mhm.
many people who are not on paper at all qualified
Yeah.
to do a job, to have a
Yeah.
position. And the only reason why they did get the opportunity was because of who they know. Oh, it's so
Yeah.
important. It's so important.
Oh, yeah. It makes all the difference because like you said, you could you could not be qualified for a position. You could be the weakest candidate, but because you know somebody or you built that relationship with somebody who's in a position of power, you could get the position.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that that's right, but that's just showing how important networking is. Like I've met so many people from people that I've worked with. It's just insane. I mean, just working with G, like that connected me with so many other Ohio State players. Um, I
Mhm.
started working with G, and then I met Mayan, and I started working with Mayan, and then like networking is, I think, like one of the biggest things, if not the biggest thing, because that can make all the difference in the world. You can be great at something. You can
I
be
think
great at something, and the right people could never see it because you're not networking the right way. And if you're not networking the right way,
I
then
couldn't
all
agree
your
more.
potential is going to waste. Yeah.
And whenever I ask like people who I respect or people who have some of the things that I want, and I'm like, how did you get that? Like, how did you even know about that? That it was
Right.
available or whatever. They were like, "Oh, well, I had lunch with so and so," or "Oh, I was talking to my friend so
Mhm.
and so." It always stems back to a relationship that they had with someone, and that's
Yeah.
how it kind of that was the seed that was planted, and that's where it started. I
Mhm.
Networking is, if you don't do anything else well, you have to do that well.
Yeah. And I mean, in a position like me having you on here, like you know a lot of people and you have relationships with people that I don't. So that allows us to take this podcast to another level and to do more things with it because of the relationships that you have that I don't have. So,
Yeah, I mean, the sphere of influence is a real thing. I mean, the
mhm.
thing the connection that you made with G, like that is still so impressive to me. Like just throwing
Yeah.
yourself out there, like that's
Mhm.
I love to hear those stories.
Yeah, and I mean, it just so happened that he ended up being a really down to earth, level headed dude. Like because I know people always say don't meet your heroes or whatever like that because you'll get let down most of the time. Like they're not who
Mhm,
you see on TV or whatever it is. But like I met him and I mean a certain part of me was like, okay, so expect him to be a little cocky, expect him to be something like that because he's a fucking football player at Ohio State. Like they're used to having people bow down and fucking praise them for everything they do. But he wasn't like that. He was real level headed, down to earth, like real humble dude, cool dude, like somebody that I could see myself just kicking it with at a family barbecue and have nothing to do with what we're working on. You know what I mean? So yeah, it just
mhm,
I
mhm.
don't know, it just turned out to be a good thing all around. Um, so yeah, with that being said, with networking, you create those relationships, you create those bonds and those friendships. What does a healthy friendship look like to you?
For me, I think it's just being able to, like I always say, I want friendships that I don't have to be
Mhm.
censored in. I don't want to worry
Right.
about what I can and can't say, what I can and can't do. I don't want to have to worry about I don't feel any judgment in my friendships. And to me, that's
Yeah.
really important because I'm not at my best a lot of the time
Mhm. Right.
because it's real life, right? So
Mhm.
that's important to me. I need people that know me and love me exactly the way that I am. They don't expect me to do anything other than be who I am.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like you said, just unconditionally, like don't let me be a piece of shit, but understanding that understanding that sometimes everybody does need their space, like with Shaq, for example, and I always use him as an example because we always just have that understanding without ever talking about it. Like me and Shaq aren't real emotional with each other, like love you, bro, or just show appreciation for each other. But we always have that understanding. Like I could go weeks, even a month without talking to him. And when I finally do reach back out to him, he ain't gonna give me a hard time about like, oh, you couldn't text nobody back or
Right.
none of this and that. It's just having
Right.
that understanding that sometimes people need their space, sometimes people are going through something or doing something. So I think that's a lot of what needs to happen in a healthy friendship. And also, um, telling them what they need to hear and not what they want to hear, being brutally
Mhm.
honest about shit. Like if you're fucking up, then I want to tell you that you're fucking up. Like everybody knows that I've been friends with Marv for a long time. And I've had to tell him a few times, like, bro, you're ruining your fucking life. Like you have to get your head on straight and you have to get away from these people that you're around and these habits that you created because you're ruining your fucking life. And a lot of people might not want to hear that, but I don't care what he wants to hear because I care more about his well-being than I do hurting his feelings. I don't care if I hurt your
Mm.
feelings. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear because I want you to actually do better. So
Yeah,
I
that's
think that's got a lot to do with a healthy friendship. So
I think so too. And my friends don't make me compromise my boundaries.
yeah.
So I always appreciate that. But I know if I got some of the most brutally honest friends that
Hmm.
you can have. So
Yeah.
I know if I
And I
need to
love
be
it.
talked to, I'm gonna be talked to.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love it because a lot of times we don't look at our flaws. A lot of times we can get full of ourselves. So you need somebody in your life to bring you back down to earth and be like, bro, you're not handling this the right way, or you're not going about this the right way. So that you can take that moment to self-reflect and be like, damn, they are right. Like I am tripping.
Oh yeah. I trust my friends to tell me what I need to be told, but I know that they love me. You know what I mean? Like I know
Right.
it's not coming from a
A
place
place of
of
hate. Yeah.
mm-mm, mm-mm.
Yeah.
No, to me, yeah. So there you have it. Because I'll sit on the phone all day and talk to a friend, and then not talk to her for a month, and we just gonna pick up where we left off. I might even take
Yeah.
notes for the next time I talk
Yeah.
to her.
Yeah. So with the I know that you chimed in the comments when we were talking about the Travis Kelsey thing.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so I wanted to ask you, being a woman on here, and these are some things that we're able to talk about now because I have you on here. Is toxic masculinity real?
Is it real?
Is it real? Is it
Okay,
real?
I'm looking
Is
up.
is is being masculine? Can being masculine be toxic for men?
Can being masculine
Maybe I'm saying that
be
wrong.
toxic? That's the question.
Yeah. Can a man be so masculine that it becomes toxic?
Um,
And I say that after the Travis
I
Kelsey thing because a lot of people considered that what Travis Kelsey did as toxic masculinity, like him being too assertive or aggressive or being too like I don't know, like what he did in general.
All right, so let me just start. So the definition of toxic masculinity is defined by adherence to traditional male gender roles that consequently stigmatize and limit the emotions boys and men may comfortably express while elevating
Mhm.
other emotions such as anger. Whoa, okay. So this I hope I'm on task here, but I feel like just generally speaking,
Mhm.
there's this there's this this idea that men are less they're just less emotional. They're supposed to be
Mhm.
stoic. They're supposed to be poised. They're supposed to be level-headed and rational.
Yeah.
And the only emotion that men are supposed to confidently express is anger. Like I just feel like from a social standpoint, that's and I could be wrong. Chime in if
No, I
I'm
agree.
saying
I
something.
agree with you. I agree with you.
And I don't, I'm a mom of 3 boys. I don't agree with that. I I used to fall victim to this like, "Oh, I'm so glad I have boys." Like we don't
Mhm.
I don't want to deal with the drama. Boys are very emotional. They should be because they're humans. I
Mhm. Yeah.
encourage them to express their emotions, but I don't think what Travis Kelsey did was like I said the other day, like I think he was a competitor in a
Mhm.
competitive environment
Yeah.
really wanting to compete. Like I think that's all that was. I don't And I'm, this isn't the Charges Up show, and I'm not a guy, and I don't know what it's like
Yeah.
to be a guy or any of that. And if my husband was sitting here right now, he'd probably have his own opinion that would be, relatable and respectable. But um, no, I don't think that he was out of line at all. I think that
Hmm.
that's the space that's safe to do
Right.
that. That's what is supposed to happen in those
Hmm.
environments. And if you wanted him to be zen, then maybe like take him to yoga and
Yeah.
see what he looks like in that environment. I don't
Yeah.
know, but I men should be encouraged. There actually should be. I wish that there was more like of this acceptance for like men to be in therapy, because I think that you guys have a lot of feelings that have
Hmm.
been like shoved down for a long time, because where are you supposed to be able to talk about some of these things, and it's like too feminine to talk about your feelings or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, I I don't feel like that about him at all. But I think that um I'm rambling. That's what I think.
No, you're making a lot of sense. And I mean, toxic masculinity, just to like sum it up, aside from the definition, is just mostly when people talk about it, they mean like men pushing their emotional feelings to the side and just acting tough or angry or something like that. But I do think a lot of times, especially in today's society, men are made to feel guilty about acting like men. Like men are naturally supposed to be tough. They're naturally supposed to be leaders. They're naturally supposed to lead their household. And I think men get a lot of
Mhm.
criticism for that, and that is what women have started to call toxic masculinity, is men just being what men have been for years. I mean, these are the same men that back in the day would go to war with swords and kill each other and everything like that. And then today we've just watered men down so much that we're kind of making them feel guilty for exhibiting them attributes that are naturally just instilled in them through genetics. Um, Now I will say this. I I understand that men go through that these days. They kind of are made to feel guilty about being masculine. But I have a video for you where there are definitely some circumstances where masculinity can be a little toxic. But go ahead and say what you was gonna say.
So I think some of what I'm hearing is like you said
Mhm.
that they're like pushing their emotions to the side because they're
Yeah.
supposed to
Yeah.
they're supposed to live up to this strong, tough exterior. And
Hmm.
I think we need to like just generally reshape how we think about what makes a man strong, what makes him tough.
Hmm.
Because for my boys, I don't ever want them to think that they have to suppress what you have to be somebody who has emotional maturity.
Yeah. Sure.
You have to be somebody who can process what's happened to you, process what you're feeling about it, and figure out how you can pick up and continue moving forward like in a
Hmm.
healthy way. I
Hmm.
don't think that suppressing these feelings or whatever traumas or whatever, because that's what I hear when I listen to
Yeah.
that. There's some undealt with things going on, and it's coming out
Hmm.
in other ways
Yeah.
like anger or toxicity. Yeah, I don't want that for my kids. My kids, they need to learn how to work through things, and I guess in that
Yeah.
sense, yeah. But that could be true for both men and women. Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah. And
baggage
I
that you
think that.
don't deal with.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think it's just like with the Travis Kelsey thing. Like, there was a lot of people that, especially on Twitter, that was commenting about the way he acted was toxic masculinity or little dick energy or and shit like that. And it's like, and it's like that's the kind of shit that men have to deal with when they show any um emotions or anything other than butterflies and rainbows. They kind of get made to feel guilty about it. But yeah, they men also need to mature and learn how to deal with their emotions and work through their emotions. But this video that I'm going to show you, um, can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so a little background on the video. This guy took his girl to a haunted house or something like that, and you can see the ghost right there.
Yeah.
Um, Apparently, that ghost scared his girlfriend, and this is how he decided to handle it.
Okay.
Watch out, bro! What's up with my fucking girlfriend?
Whoa! Dude, are you okay?
So, did you see that?
Yeah.
So, you
But
went to, yeah, go ahead.
what happened before that? That's
Well,
the
that
only part
ghost
of the
right there.
video?
Yeah, that's the only part of the video. It's just like a short clip that I found. But
Hmm.
in the caption of it, it tells you like that guy took his girl to this haunted theme park or whatever, and that ghost scared his girl previous to that, and then he retaliated by
Watch
doing
out,
that.
bro! What's up with my fucking girlfriend?
And you can hear him say, "Don't fuck with my fucking girlfriend." That is toxic
Okay.
masculinity. If you want to call something toxic masculinity, that's it.
So I'm naturally gonna be like, all right, I need to see what happened before that. Cause like
Yeah.
did this inappropriate? It wasn't warranted because that's hard for me to believe that somebody just acts like that over nothing.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Man,
And we are
I
kind of
just
and that is
was it
and
warranted?
that's on me. We're kind of taking that out of context, but I'm assuming, I mean, he is dressed like a ghost. Unless he like slapped her on the ass when they were walking through the haunted house or something. Um, I am just taking their
I
word at
mean,
face
yeah,
value
I
that,
gotta know more.
but I have
That's
seen
crazy. I
men do
mean that
shit like
I
this.
don't
I have seen men do shit like that though. So if it is that ghost just scared his girlfriend and like was fucking with her, because you know, like when you go to something haunted, the people that are dressed up, they usually pick on the people that show they're scared the most. That's
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 why I don't
usually
go
who
to
they
haunted houses.
target. Yeah. They don't usually don't fuck with the people that don't seem too scared. They usually fuck with the people who seem like they're scared the most.
Which would
So
be me.
I'm going to say that this ghost was probably messing with her a little more than he was other people. And then the boyfriend kind of took it personal and said, "Don't fuck with my girlfriend."
That's I mean,
Now,
that's crazy to me.
yeah. Well, that like if that is the case, then that is definitely an example of toxic masculinity to me. I don't think it's as big as people make it to be nowadays, but this is a perfect example of what it would be because you took your girl to a haunted theme park. You know that you're there to be scared by these people. So why
Right.
would you do this because he scared your girlfriend? Like,
Right, that's the whole purpose, that's the whole premise. So
yeah.
there's so many questions I have after watching this video. Like it just
And
doesn't even
Sarita,
seem
you know that there are men out there that just look for any opportunity to look tough in front of people. Like they just seek it.
yeah, yeah.
There are
I've seen it.
there are a lot
I've
of
seen good people.
yeah, there are a lot of especially when there are girls around that they like, there are a lot of men that seek out opportunities to look tough in front of those girls. And he knew that that ghost wasn't going to do nothing back to him. Whoever was dressed up like a ghost, he knew they wasn't going to do nothing back to him.
Aren't there like waivers you have to sign where you can't I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't go to haunted houses cuz
well, you're
I
not
know
supposed
my
to touch
limits
them.
and I
They
respect
ain't
them.
supposed to touch you.
Yeah. Right. So, that just looks very excessive and unnecessary to me and
Super excessive.
I can't imagine what happened before that video. I hope something big did happen to justify that cuz
Well,
that is just crazy.
Well, Sarita, like you said though, like teaching your young boys to handle their emotions and deal with their emotions the right way. Like even in this case, if the ghost did touch her inappropriately or something like that, you have to figure out if it was an accident because I mean a lot of them haunted houses and stuff that you go through, they're tight spaces, like it's kind of hard not to run into somebody. can we go to the ghost and talk to him? Can we figure out what happened?
Right.
And then if he was like, yo, fuck you, then do whatever. Okay, then I get it. But
I'm like a natural investigator. I want to ask questions.
yeah. And like you said, like processing your emotions and going through it with him and dealing with him the right way. He probably should have went to him and confronted him verbally, like, what the fuck happened? Because the dude might have said, yeah, I accidentally fucking swiped her. We were in that crowded ass space. I didn't mean to.
Right, yeah.
You just run over and fucking slam this dude on the ground.
Or just leave. Like if
Yeah.
there's that big of an issue and she's clearly
Right.
uncomfortable, perhaps you should just leave.
Yeah. Yeah, and just report it to whoever the supervisor is or whatever like that. But I don't know. I have a hard time believing that the dude dressed up as a ghost was just in there getting his feel on all night long. So I don't know.
Right.
Man, he thought he was a ghost for real. But Emily said, but also seeing those videos make me wonder who was filming and why did they start filming? Like, what happened to make them start filming, or was it set up? Like, did they know he was going to do that? Yeah. And I mean, because I did it, like, we went to Zumbizi Bay because they had a haunted thing this year. And, like, I went around. I mean, I'm a videographer, so I just naturally do it. But like, we were going around and I was like taking videos of all the Halloween decorations and shit like that. So, I mean, did they just have their phone out and something coincidentally like that happened while they had their phone out, like trying to post it on social media? Or was it set up? But that ghost does not look like he knew that shit was about to happen.
No, he looked very caught off guard. But Emily brings up a good point though. The filming thing drives me nuts. And I get that there are situations where like you may feel that it's necessary. I've not been in a situation, knock on wood, by the grace of God, whatever, like that. But I always wonder, I don't know. I just wonder what goes on in someone's mind when you see some crazy stuff happening. Like, I'm going to get out my phone and record it. I'm not going to help. I'm just going to get out my phone and I'm going to record it.
Especially when it's something like super serious, like somebody fucking getting killed or something like that. And the first thing because like the Nipsey Hussle shit, when he got killed, like you had people posting videos on Twitter and shit. And I'm like, bro, you're posting, his family is on here. Like somebody gets killed and the first thing you think to do is record with your phone. Like that's disrespectful as fuck.
It's very disrespectful. It's very disrespectful.
So, and like Emily said, you never know what people's intentions are because everybody these days is trying to go viral. So
everybody.
Did they put this all together to make this video so that we would post it on a podcast and they would get more views? You know what I'm saying? Because if that's the case, then I'm doing them a favor right now. But you never know.
Because they knew Trey Crampton was gonna come up with morning brew this morning. They wanted me on it.
Yeah. Hey. So I
TikTok
mean,
famous is a real thing, maybe.
Yeah, you never know what's real or what stage nowadays because everybody's trying to go viral. It's like,
yes,
and that's what makes it hard to believe. That's what makes it hard to know what to believe too. So,
but Emily said, what happened to make them start filming? That's always my question. What happened before?
Yeah, I've never understood that, and like I said, like. I try to be better about that, but just like posting that one little clip of the video at the end where it gets tackled, it's like we're taking that out of context and I don't know what happened before. But I mean, just assuming that the ghost wasn't in there on no touchy shit. I'm assuming that he just scared his girlfriend and he was probably targeting her because she was showing that she was scared. Like they do at a lot of them places. Like they pick on the one person that shows that they're scared the most, and he was probably picking on her. And the dude was it's probably a fresh relationship, and the dude's trying to impress her. So he was like, "Oh yeah,
it was Valentine's Day.
Yeah, this is my opportunity. I'm about to show her that she got a real man in her life," and goes and fucks up the ghost.
Yeah, chivalry ain't dead.
Man, it ain't dead. But and that's the thing, though. That's the thing. A lot of men get that shit confused because he probably made her open her own car door, but then he wanted to go over here and tackle this ghost. Like, bro, you focusing on the wrong shit. But okay, so we're already on an hour and 20 minutes. I didn't even realize we had gone that long already. So I do want to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm sure you got things to do. I know I got things to do. And I know other people got things to do. So appreciate you coming on, Sarita. I know you talked about some things that were kind of hard to talk about, but I appreciate you talking about them. And for everybody that tuned in kind of late, you can always watch this back. And if you do watch it back, make sure you hit the like, share, comment. You can still comment. We'll see them later. And we'll bring them up on the next show. But go over to YouTube, subscribe to the Morning Brew podcast. There's only 2 subscribers on the podcast channel on YouTube right
Only
now. I
2
think everybody
subscribers.
there's only 2 subscribers, and I think it's because people are just lazy and they're waiting for it to come on Facebook because it's more convenient.
You
But
get
I'm
to sign
telling you
into
guys,
and subscribe.
yeah. And I'm not
Okay.
gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. There was a long time where I wasn't a big YouTube person, and I would watch people's videos very consistently, but I would never subscribe to their channel because I was just too fucking lazy to do it. So don't be me. Go over to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, like, comment, share on Facebook, all that, and make sure you guys tune in Monday through Friday at 10 a.m.
Sounds like you
Sarita,
need
I
to do a
appreciate you coming
giveaway,
on.
right?
A giveaway. I'm tired of paying people to I'm tired of paying people to interact with me, man. Damn.
We want organic subscribers. Okay.
That goes back to the hold on. That goes back to the what does a healthy friendship look like? I'm tired of paying people to be my friend. Shit. But
Oh, I appreciate you
y'all
having
tuning
me.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem, man. Sarita will be back on here next Friday, every Friday at 10 a.m. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Until next time.
See you guys.